See, now there are things in this world that could take us humans out that you wouldn't even expect. Yes, we're fragile like that. So sit with me through this and let's find out together 10 things you didn't know could kill you. Let's get into it.
Contrary to belief, air hoses are extremely dangerous, although they're often used for filling up car tyres, blowing out dust in keyboards, and inflating huge bouncy castles. They also carry enough pressure to tear through skin, damage internal organs, or even be fatal if mishandled. On a calm morning in May 2011, a truck driver in New Zealand was going about his daily routine. He climbed onto the rigging between his truck's cab and trailer, a place he'd stood countless times before. But in one unlucky moment, his boot slipped, and instead of falling on steady ground, the man fell backwards straight onto his compressed air hose. The brass nozzle punctured him through his left buttock, and in an instant, high pressurized air about
Hey, yo, bro. Through his cheek, man? Oh my goodness. Oh my freaking goodness. The embarrassment plus the pain combo will just go crazy, man. That's the scary part too, is that he was doing something he's done multiple times before. Like he always does this thing. He's never thinking that, oh, one day it's gonna go horribly wrong to the point where the thing that goes wrong could potentially take his life. But then all of a sudden it just happens. That's how life is, bro. It could just go by just like that. We gotta be grateful every day. Thank God every day for the life that He's given us because anything could happen at any time. Bro is literally about to get turned into a balloon. Like, like who in their wildest imaginations would have thought that this is the way they were gonna go out by getting turned into a freaking living balloon, bro? Hell no.
100 pounds per square inch began flooding into his body. As if it were straight out of a cartoon, the man's body began to inflate in size. Air forced its way beneath his muscles and fat, separating his tissue like it were sheets of paper. His chest tightened, his skin stretched, and his face ballooned into a grotesque puff. Co-workers who happened to cross his path screamed in terror. They quickly rushed to his side, shocked at the mortifying sight. They shut off the air supply and carefully rolled him onto his side, knowing his lungs and heart were under pressure. Ice packs were pressed against his swollen neck and chest to try and ease the suffocating strain. Ambulance crews arrived as fast as they could, but when they found the man, he could barely breathe. His body literally doubled in size. It was full with so much air that every time an EMT tried to put a needle in his body to start an IV, the air would just push it right out. Doctors later compared his skin to feeling like densely packed bubble wrap just waiting to explode. But luckily for this man, he didn't explode. It took days for the air to escape his tissue, but against all odds, he survived by farting it all out of his body. Others, however, wouldn't be as lucky. Like the time a poultry worker in Mississippi got carried away with his friend while horseplaying, and for some odd reason, he decided to stick an air hose in his, yeah. The air pressure from the hose was so immense that he blew up from the inside, rupturing most of his organs in the
Whoa, what? But the way some people play is crazy, man. Like this is the kind of fun they have together. This is what they consider fun. This is what they consider a fun time together. Literally putting your life on the line. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Putting a high pressure hose up your you know what? What the hell did you think was gonna happen? Even if you weren't gonna freaking die, something was definitely gonna happen, bro. It's not meant to go up there, if you know what I mean, bro. Like, what the hell? Yo, some people are just crazy, bro. Like, people out here just don't value their life, man. Yo, what the hell?
process. Surprisingly, there are a lot of cases like this, so even though they're fun to play with, air hoses are dangerous. Always keep them in safe places and please don't misuse them. A broken heart. It shouldn't be, but true love.
The fact that he said there's a lot of cases like this is just sad. We humans are the smartest species on this planet, but sometimes we could literally, we could genuinely be like one of the dumbest, bro. Like, what do you mean there's a lot of cases like this? People out here just doing this stuff for fun? What? Yeah, we need to lock in, man. We need to lock in.
Love often feels like one of the rarest things to find in life, and once you find it, you never want it to leave you. Such wasn't the case for a man who was forced to read his wife's eulogy at her funeral after he supported her for a 4-year battle against ovarian cancer. The pair were inseparable. The man became engaged to her when he was just 21 years old, and the two would go on to be married for 30. 4 years. That's nearly twice my age. And now, instead of making more memories with the companion of his life, he was making funeral speeches and writing thank you letters to those who came to the service. The amount of exertion something like this can have on one's heart is no joke. Only mere moments after the eulogy, the man was found slumped over in his house, in the middle of writing thank you letters. He had literally passed away from a broken heart. Doctors said his grief was so profound that
That is so sad. Oh my goodness. Damn. Rest in peace, bro. That is so sad. He literally lost the love of his life and had nothing else to live for and gave up. Bro, I'm about to cry, bro. They got me here tearing up. Damn, talking had to put the saddest story in this video, bro. My goodness. Wow. Love is beautiful. Love is beautiful, man.
it caused him to have a heart attack. And this wasn't just an isolated incident, it's a phenomenon that happens to many others as well. It's called broken heart syndrome, or Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. It's a temporary heart condition triggered by intense emotional or mental stress that makes the heart's main pumping chamber weaken, causing it to mimic the symptoms of a literal heart attack. Soda cans. Imagine that it's a hot summer day and you've done nothing but bask in the sun's overwhelming rays of heat all morning. You're parched, so you go indoors to get yourself a nice cold can of soda. But
as a guy from Africa, I never really understood the whole thing about being thirsty and instead of picking up water to actually quench your thirst, going for a soda or a juice. Like, just drink water. I don't believe soda or juice is something that should be used to quench your thirst. It's something like sugary for cravings, just to, have something sweet. It's just a sweet treat. That's what it is to me. It's a treat. I never really understand people who say they're thirsty and then proceed to drink soda or juice. Like, water is way better than both of those, if you ask me. Miles better. So guys, drink more water and less soda. Thank you.
to your disappointment, none of the drinks were put away in the fridge. They were left out on the table, so now they're just warm and gross. You come up with an idea. You take one of the cans of soda and throw it into the freezer in order to speed up the cooling of the beverage. To wait for it to cool down, you go and watch some YouTube and then end up falling asleep. Hours pass, and you forget that you left the soda in there. Eventually, when you wake up and stumble across your fridge again, you remember that you put a soda in its freezer. Hoping that the drink hasn't frozen solid, you quickly take it out of the freezer, crack it open, and boom. Just like that. The can explodes like a hand grenade right in front of your face. This is a real case that happened to a boy in China on August 25th, 2012. Luckily for this boy, however, medical professionals were able to save him and nurse him back to health. Frozen soda cans are extremely dangerous, and in some cases, they're even lethal. Freezing them forces the carbon dioxide in the soda to create tightly packed reservoirs inside of the can that store high amounts of energy similar to a bomb. So keep your soda in the fridge, and if you do put it in the freezer, don't forget to take it out so that you don't go boom boom. Gooning.
Hi, how are you? Good. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Sir, you need to leave.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a couple of ways that gooning can take you out. But, so that this video doesn't get demonetized,
I've actually done a video way back in the day on that guy. It was a crazy situation, bro. You could go check it out if you want after this video, but no, it's a really old video.
be swift on the topic. The risk of passing away from this is extremely low, especially if you're a healthy individual. However, if you're struggling with any underlying cardiovascular diseases, it's possible that excessiveness could trigger a heart attack, arrhythmia, or a stroke. On September 18th, in 2019, a heartbroken teen suffering from depression would find himself unable to ignore how his last Valentine's Day went. I don't really know how, but he snuck past his parents and locked himself away in a room where he then gooned himself to destruction. He gooned 56 times until he had a heart attack. However, I'd take this case with a huge gulp of salt because due to the bizarreness of his passing, tons of media outlets have exaggerated how he went out, often claiming that he did it 100 times and ripped his thing off his body, which is obviously just not true. Vending machines. He was infuriated. A man had just put the only dollar he had on him into the vending machine, and his snack was stuck inside of the machine floating in limbo. The problem had a simple solution. Just shake the stupid clanker. The man began rocking the vending machine back and forth over and over again until his snack finally fell and was free for him to take. Unfortunately, however, it wouldn't be the only thing to fall. The 1,200-pound vending machine would also tip over on him and crush his neck against a wall. The man would be pinned against the wall, struggling to keep the machine from fully flattening his neck. But
The pain, bro. I'd rather just go out instantly. Having a 1,200-pound thing just putting pressure on your neck for I don't know how long it's gonna like be for until he passes out. No, like I can only imagine, bro. The pain from that would be insane, unbearable, man. Damn, bro. He should have just went to another vending machine. Bro. It wasn't worth the $2 chips, bro. Come on, man. Come on.
sadly, his efforts would prove to be fruitless. He wouldn't survive to see the next day. More people pass away from vending machines than they do shark attacks. There's about 2 to 4 casualties from vending machines each year in the US. So, if the machine isn't giving up your snack, you can get angry at it, you can swear at it, but don't get into a fight with it. 10 out of 10 times, you will lose. Sudden choking. Imagine this. You're hanging out with your friends, chilling at a party, and conversing with other people while losing track of time. And then that's when it hits you. You start choking on literally nothing. It's called a laryngospasm. It's a sudden, violent, and involuntary spasm of your vocal cords that is so forceful that it entirely blocks your body's airways. Mild cases of laryngospasms.
What kind of unlucky ass thing is that? Bro, what? You're just there and your body does decides not to give you, to take away your ability to breathe. What the hell? Yo, there's so many things that we don't know about. Like, this is actually crazy. Like, all the other things he's mentioned before this, they are kind of understandable, but this?
Last just a few seconds, while more intense cases can last up to a few minutes, which is pretty horrifying when you think about it. 1 second, you're chilling on some mobile games. The next second, you're literally fighting for your life and suffocating on nothing. If this ever happens to you, don't panic or try to gasp for extra air. Remaining calm helps your muscles relax. Take small sips of water to clear any possible irritants causing the spasm and apply pressure on the soft spots behind your earlobes. It'll help your vocal cords ease up. And most importantly, seek professional help. Restaurant signs. In January 2023, a swarm of fierce winds ripped through Elizabethtown, Kentucky. A family arrived at their favorite local Denny's to start their morning off with some warm pancakes and coffee, an entirely questionable option for breakfast. No offense. However, towering above the Denny's parking lot was an 80-foot sign weighing more than a ton. To most, the sign was a glowing beacon for bacon, eggs, and pancakes. But for this family, it became the last thing they'd ever see. A 72-year-old woman sat in the car with her husband and daughter when a storm outside struck. The pole groaned under the wind's pressure, then, without warning, it suddenly snapped. The massive sign came crashing down on the car, crushing the roof and trapping the family inside. Unfortunately, the 72-year-old lady didn't survive its impact, and her husband would also go on to pass away from the injuries the accident gave him. There are multiple cases where restaurant signs, gas station signs, and storefronts fall on people. So, never be discouraged to keep your distance from an unstable-looking board that's giving you an off feeling when you're entering a business. It might just save your life. Sneezing. We all do it. You're sitting in a job interview or in a library.
Yo, do you guys believe that thing where it's like they say, like if you sneeze with your eyes open, like your eyeballs will pop out? I don't believe it, but if you believe it, put it down in the comments and tell me why. Like it's a crazy thing.
Or in front of your date, and then you feel it coming. the tingling sensation that tickles the small hairs inside of your nose, letting you know that you're about to sneeze. The natural thing to do is to let that sneeze fly. Well, while trying to not make a mess. But oftentimes instead, we just find ourselves stifling the sneeze. Don't. My anatomy teacher in high school always told us to break the habit, and honestly, it makes sense as to why. During a sneeze, if your mouth and nose are both closed, the pressure generated in the airways can surpass more than 20 times its normal amount. And in a recent case during 2023, a man sick with hay fever held in his sneeze by instinctively pinching his nose and closing his mouth. The force that built up in his airways was so immense that it literally tore open his windpipe. It's extremely rare to pass away from this, but nonetheless.
Was he in the car alone or like with people? Because if he was in the car alone, why did he cover his mouth and nose? Bro, I would have sneezed, bro. Like, if I was in there alone, I would have sneezed. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean I gotta hold it in whilst nobody is in the car with me? Because that's what they're showing in the animation. They're showing that he's alone in the car, so why is he holding in his sneeze? Bro, I would have sneezed, bro. What?
Holding in a sneeze just isn't worth gambling your life. Christmas trees. There's no better feeling in the world than to finish setting up your Christmas tree just in time for the holidays. Nothing beats a Christmas with fruitcake, eggnog, and a house fire. US fire departments respond.
Yeah, I'm curious. Is eggnog like, what is eggnog really like? Is it good? Like, what kind of like thing is it? Like, is it the actual insides of an egg that you're drinking? I don't get it. Like, I hear about it, but I've never tried it before. I don't know if it's gonna even be good. Like, would you guys watching recommend eggnog? Please put it in the comments if you will. Cause I don't know about eggnog, bro. Kind of sounds nasty, but if you guys give a good enough reason in the comments, I might try it. And who knows, maybe I might make a little video of me trying it. If you guys want to see that.
To an average of 200 home fires caused by Christmas trees each year. And as you would presume, these fires lead to casualties. Christmas tree house fires are significantly more dangerous than normal fires in your home. This is because these fires usually occur at night or early morning when people have gone to sleep but left all of their decorations plugged in and lit up. They're usually caused by candles that were placed too close to the tree, faulty wires, or heat caused by all of the decorative electrical elements. And as opposed to normal house fires that are slow and steady in their startup, Christmas fires with a dry tree can ignite and spread across a room in less than just 30 seconds. So, with that being said, try not to get too carried away with your holiday spirit this year. Doing nothing. You see that signs can fall on you, beverages can explode in your face, and that Christmas trees can set you ablaze in your sleep. So you decide that the best course of action for you to avoid all danger is doing absolutely nothing. And then you explode into a ferocious blaze, so powerful that it leaves nothing but your feet behind. Weirdly enough, nothing else around you is affected. Not the couch you were sitting on, not the table in front of you, not the rug on the floor. Nothing. Just only specifically you. This is known as spontaneous human combustion, and there are many cases in the US about it.
Bro's not joking. I thought he was joking. This is real. This is a real thing. Oh my goodness. There are some crazy conditions out here. What do you mean we humans can just randomly explode? So it can happen to anybody. So that means we're all basically walking grenades, just waiting to go off.
However, scientists nowadays discredit it fully and dub it as nothing more than a myth. They rather believe it to be the wick effect, which is when a person's clothing absorbs melted body fat during a fire and causes them to burn up but leaves their surroundings relatively unharmed. Others feel like this isn't a sufficient enough explanation to the phenomenon though. They argue that if the fire's hot enough to consume you entirely and leave nothing but ashes behind, then it should also scorch nearby walls, furniture, and flooring. They also say for the wick effect to be true, it needs a clear spark, like a lighter or a candle. But in many of the cases, the victims aren't found with anything heat-related. Toilet time. In Chicago, in 1987, a 70-year-old woman would board a cruise ship with her family. As they explored the wonders on board and enjoyed the pleasant feeling of being on the ocean, the old lady would be greeted with another, less than pleasant feeling. So she excused herself from her family and made her way to the ship's bathroom, and there she was greeted with the solution to her bowel troubles: the toilet. She closed the door behind her, sat on the seat, and did her business in peace. Minutes later, the ship's medical personnel would rush past the family to the bathroom where their grandma was last seen. Out of concern, the family would follow, and as if it were a scene straight out of a horror movie, they would be met with the sight of their grandma. Her insides were literally sucked out of her body by the ship's vacuum toilet. She was rushed to the emergency room once the crews docked at a port. And even though cases like these are extraordinarily rare, toilets have been shown to cause lethal harm to civilians in other ways. Take, for instance,
How powerful was that damn vacuum? You're a freaking black hole as the vacuum of the toilet, bro. What do you mean it sucked out some of these insides? Yo.
bloating. In 2017, a federal class action lawsuit was filed against a toilet company called American Standard after it received 300 reports of its toilets literally blowing up. And even this year, in 2025, a 20-year-old man suffered serious burn injuries after he pressed the flush button on his toilet and it responded with a loud explosive bang. He was rushed to a hospital where doctors revealed that 35% of his body was burned horribly by the explosion. But luckily, he survived. If you couldn't tell, this was a birthday special for the channel. It's my way of thanking you guys for all the support you've given me this year. In just 2 months, we grew from 10,000 subscribers to over 250,000. I'm extremely grateful. But anyways, love your neighbor, be safe, and have a happy day.
Happy birthday to the Talking Hats channel. You guys saw that in 1 year he grew massively. Like, you guys helped me out too. Let's grow, okay? Please subscribe. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.